Hello everybody, how do you do? You are about to listen to a commentary track of the Evil Bob Saga by Bob and I, the creators of the Evil Bob Saga. But before we get to that, I want to talk about a few things. Number one, we are commentating over the complete Evil Bob Saga, which is all 5 parts combined into one. So it's edited a little bit differently, it's cut a little bit differently, so you won't see the direct moments in which the parts cut out from each other. So do be aware of that. The second thing to be aware of this is that we are going to be spoiling this. This is not good for first viewing. We'll be spoiling moments that happen throughout the Evil Bob Saga from the very beginning. We'll be pointing out foreshadowing moments. So if you want to enjoy the Evil Bob Saga in all of its glory, you can watch the 5 parts on YouTube or Twitch, or if you want to watch the complete Evil Bob Saga, which is what we're commentating over, you can watch that exclusively on my YouTube channel. Please, if you have not seen the Evil Bob Saga, do not let this be your first viewing. Go watch it properly, come back, and then enjoy our behind-the-scenes / commentary track that we are about to record over this right now. Oh, we're here. Evil Bob Saga commentary. Let's get it going. This is the intro that we have right here. This is so this introduction is sort of like to give like a little bit of a backstory on those who missed the previous videos for the Evil Bob Saga. The Bubba Ducky shirt there.
Yep.
That's actually the only time the Bubba Ducky shirt appears in this in the Evil Bob Saga until the end. I kind of like put it there to have like a foreshadow, but.
Right.
We recorded. This is like a little like a voiceover to sort of start over. I don't know when I came up with the idea to do this. I know it was pretty early on, and we knew that we wanted to do like a little bit of a recap, and that's actually this whole first part is basically a recap. Is like a hey, here's what happened, and here's who's here, and let's have fun, basically.
Right, because all the little bits of the story that we had before this were kind of spread out between random videos and stuff.
Exactly, and we wanted to make one thing that ended it, and we ended up being the Evil Bob Saga. So none of this is new footage. This is all showing sort of old stuff, the old videos that sort of set up the story, and
different promos, different intro videos, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
outro videos.
The classic scene right here. This is the best scene of all time. I am you. It's a classic. It's a classic. Your hair looks so much different there. It's crazy.
Because I was I was still shaving my head.
Yeah. But yeah, sort of just establishing, Evil Bob, establishing Bob, the main players in this game, main players in this story.
Yes.
And yeah, we'll just get to it. So this is the complete Evil Bob Saga version.
Yes.
As we talked about. So this first part, we recorded this This is about a year ago? This is August we recorded this. And all the subsequent parts we recorded later and later. We'll get to those. But this first part is just basically in this room. The only thing I remember about recording this, because this is so long ago at this point, damn near a year ago, the only thing I remember about recording the scene is I remember that your brother, a.k.a. Superfan, there was one take, we'll get to it, that took forever to do.
Yeah.
It must have taken at least like 12 or 13 takes to get. This is the introduction of Superfan, who is obviously a very important character. And he's sort of just...
that pan.
Yeah, he's sort of here just to like move the story along. He's sort of here to just kind of be like, hey, I exist, and I am going to sort of act as the fan's perspective, and that's why we have him like saying, kind of, all right, we make him annoying, not necessarily to be like, hey, all of our fans are annoying, but to sort of exaggerate like the idea of fandom, the annoyingness that comes with fandom. It's this take right here, by the way.
Yes.
This take right here that is going on right now. This take took at least 15 to do. The main problem was, I remember, like, you see him right there, he's looking at the camera.
Yes.
He kept, like, that's actually the best one. I remember he kept looking at the camera.
He was just
staring at the camera. And it was like, please pretend I don't exist. But yeah, this is, like, the majority. This is, like, 2/3 of the episode right here. 2/3 of the first part.
Yeah.
Also, your clothes are right there, the Evil Bob clothes. This is very messy.
Were they?
Yeah, they're just on the couch right there. We just saw them. They just zoomed in on them. We were pointing out all the flaws, by the way. There's a lot of... this is very rough, you could tell. But yeah, there's a script right there.
There's a script right there.
Yeah, and there's a shirt. Yeah, we recorded this, I want to say, like, what was it, like 2 weeks after Livestream 400, I think?
Yeah, probably just about.
And it was hot. I remember it was very hot.
I could see the sweat gleaning off my forehead.
Yeah. Yes. It was not a cool day out.
That's a theme with a lot of the Evil Bob Saga stuff. It was very hot when we filmed a lot of it.
Well, I think the first...
For the first couple episodes.
Yeah.
And
well,
then
I feel like it was just the first part. This scene specifically in the last scene because we were inside running around a lot.
Right.
But I feel like everything in between, we were outside a lot. Mm-hmm. And all those scenes... Actually, it's only one scene we were outside. But this sets up like the main conflict. Like you're sort of like stressed out about it. And from the audience perspective, you know, you think that, oh, Bob knows who Evil Bob is. Mm-hmm. But Sdsman doesn't, which obviously isn't true.
Right.
But I guess looking back on this, maybe when I was writing this, I'm sort of reflecting how I'm acting chill about it, or Sdsman rather, the character, is acting chill about it, maybe to sort of like deflect it. Mm-hmm. To sort of be like, hey, like I know that they exist, but I'm going to like kind of act all chill about it because I don't want to confront it. While Bob, you know, sort of is confronting them. I mean, we know that they exist, but from the audience perspective, it's like, oh, Bob knows he's fighting an evil Bob, but Sdsman doesn't.
Right.
And the main reason why Evil Bob, or rather Bob won't tell Sdsman about Evil Bob is because he worked with him briefly.
Yes.
Which, we'll get to that scene in a second when they deal with that, but yeah, this is just sort of established, like, where all the characters stand. All the characters that are in. There's 5 characters, 4 of them played by both of us.
Yes, yes.
And then we get to this is, like, the last, like, scene right here. Mm-hmm. This sort of mirrors the scene where you first meet Evil Bob, except that he's not physically in the room. Which, I actually think originally he was going to be in the room, but then I ultimately decided it was best if he wasn't.
Right.
So this is we finally see the lair.
Yes.
Which, there's a lot of stuff here, but we actually have a canon explanation for that.
Yes.
Which we'll get to later. It's not until the very end of this.
Mm-hmm.
You're on my phone.
Yes.
And on my phone as well.
Yeah, because we use my phone for recording all of it.
Yeah.
Although, when we did do the ringtone, that is my actual ringtone that I have. So.
Yes, yes. So this is when you turn, you say, I'm bailing. It's just fun watching a phone conversation between yourself. But, yeah, this is when you bail. I got the music here. I love this music.
He just made the biggest mistake of his life. It looks like there will still be a book.
Yeah, so this is a funny scene.
Yeah, this whole scene's great.
Really, why I like this scene is so the original reason we filmed in the dark was because we didn't want them to know that it was us playing these characters.
Right.
And then once we realized it was very obvious, we just kept filming in the dark still.
Yes.
This little scene here. So yeah, we actually have a light, which I thank God because it's much easier to record with light. And obviously we get introduced to Evil Sdsman, which is the character at this point you know the least about.
Right.
As for now. But yeah, kind of just setting up, you know, you have Evil Bob, Evil Sdsman versus Evil Bob and Evil Sdsman, how much they know about each other, how much they know in general. And
Yep.
Superfan's also apparently there.
Yeah.
Superfan actually really only plays one role in this whole story, and we'll get to that. It's between part 2 and part 3. It's between him learning information and then him giving information.
Right.
That is like the only thing he really does in this saga, but he's important, as you guys will see. So this ends part 1 right here. This is like the
Little gag.
little gag about a shitty painting, yeah. Also, all this shit here, you're supposed to be like, what? But they do explain that.
Fucking Bud Light bottles.
Bud Light bottles. So now we got part 2. And I will say one thing about part 2 is the first part establishes everyone, and everyone kind of gets an equal screen time, sort of. Maybe, I mean, at least equal, like, screen presence. But this is part 2. This is, like, your part.
Yes.
This is when you kind of get set up as the protagonist here. And the reason why we put it in your perspective is because I just find it a little more interesting. We kind of learn about Sdsman's backstory, but it's more interesting that we learn it through you.
Right.
And pretty much this rest of the whole saga is told through you. Mm-hmm. That first part, kind of, I guess, you're there now each scene, but this is when you really become sort of the center protagonist here.
Yes.
So obviously, a fun fact about that rock you just saw that Evil Bob was holding. I did drop that on my toe.
Yes, yeah. And you thought you broke your toe for a little bit.
I thought I broke my toe for a bit. So there we get this scene with no words. I guess we can talk about this a lot. Filming.
This scene was really fun to film, but there were some weird kind of moments with it too.
Yes.
We were going through a bunch of different spots in our neighborhood, just trying to get good spots to film, and there were some ideas for spots that we couldn't end up doing because of weird circumstances and stuff like that.
Right,
but it was really cool going through, and
yeah,
we had to film it twice. Essentially.
Yes. So we had to. I think we did Evil Bob first.
Yes.
So we filmed it as Evil Bob. Like these scenes right here, and then we would go. We basically traveled. I'd say like we drove around. stopped at locations, filmed as Evil Bob, and then came back and then stopped at the same locations and filmed as you,
Right.
Following you. But and they were probably like an hour apart. Like that scene right there with you dropping the leaf, which by the way, cool scene.
It was a really cool shot.
And you right there, that was filmed like an hour apart, but it looks like the same time of day. Which that's because it's cloudy out. Thank you, cloud. Because if it wasn't, shadows would make it obvious. The scene's kind of interesting because you're following him.
Yes.
This scene exists to just like sort of not necessarily drag it out, but to like show that like I don't know how close they really live. And obviously, as you find out later, this is a bait.
Right.
Evil Bob is, and as you watch it, it looks pretty clear that Evil Bob is clearly baiting Bob to follow him back to his base.
Yep.
And that's explained later, obviously, why he wants to get them there, because he wants to get at Sdsman. By the way, this right here is the longest shot of the Evil Bob Saga. This is a long take.
Yep. Did we do this twice, or did we only do this once?
I think this take we might have done twice. I think we might have fucked it up or something.
I think there's a point where you kind of walk backward in between a fence, and I think you walked into the fence the first time.
No. I think what happened was you caught up, like you got in front of the camera.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what happened. But
and then you told me to walk slower the second time.
Yeah, but this is sort of like what I like about this scene is you actually can't see what's in front of you,
right?
Like Evil Bob can, so you're kind of like seeing things as they pop by. So right up here, you'll see like a fence post. I only know that because I know this area.
Yes,
I know this area. The fence post right there just pops in through. But yeah, it's supposed to be like an intense scene. Like, what is he seeing? He's following him, and obviously this is a big moment because you finally got like the reveal of the base right here, and that's like a big pivotal moment.
Right.
Again, through Bob's sort of perspective. So, also, it rained this day.
It did, yes.
As you'll see later.
Yep.
It hadn't rained at this point yet, but it did rain.
I think it started to rain just as we were getting one of these shots over here.
Yeah. So we got, obviously, him looking back. You so close.
So close this entire time. That's how you've been following her.
So, obviously, this is a bait. This scene shows, Bob hesitating. Because he needs one thing. A gun. Which we'll get to the gun. Yes. We have a lot of stuff to talk about when it comes to the gun.
This whole scene setup, we had like a thing set up with like the cars and like moving cars to places so we could get like walk back and forth and ride back and forth.
Yeah, it was quite a scene. So here we got another established scene. Sitting in this chair. I don't know why. This chair is in here, I think, just because I didn't want to sit on the couch, just because I wanted to get framed better.
Yep.
Also, the reason why this part, and this part was filmed, by the way, we didn't mention this, I believe this was October. And the only reason I know that is because this episode, so the first part we filmed in one go. I think this one took maybe 2 or 3 sessions.
Yep.
And I remember we had to take down the Bubba Ducky shirt, which we'll get to in a second. And we had to put it back up, and we had the Halloween lights up.
Right.
And that was quite, because it was during the Halloween streams last year. But this, yes, and another important thing is why this got delayed so much, and why this was filmed in October when the other one was filmed in August, is because during this, we had to find time to film when they weren't working on our kitchen.
Right.
They were working on our kitchen. And I think it's part 3 you finally see the new kitchen. So that's why the really delayed moment was between part 1 and part 2. We filmed part 1, and then it was 2 months until we filmed part 2.
Right.
And then it was not until like November until we finished part 2. So,
yep.
But that scene sort of establishes where Sdsman stands and shows that some metaphors there. Bob can't.
This
spider.
This seems pretty funny.
Yes, it shows that he can't. Bear to tell him. But yeah.
Superfan reporting for duty.
But yeah, obviously, it's a super fan scene. This is a very pivotal scene.
It was actually raining outside during this scene, so Kevin was standing outside, just getting chilling in the rain. Also, what I like about this scene is the implication of the scene is that if you think about it, you can see it's raining outside. If you think about it, like, so Superfan obviously is behind all of this, right? And he follows Evil Bob there, and now Superfan is coming here to sort of get bait the information out of Bob to give it to Sdsman so that Sdsman can follow him there. Right.
Scared? In episode 3 of Bob Plays Destiny, you said, I'm not
Obviously,
scared.
Superfan being as annoying as ever.
Yes.
Gotta love it.
No.
This is the first and only genuine scene between Superfan and Bob. I guess there's one between Sdsman and Superfan, but
Superfan after
Yeah.
all.
like I said, he does one purpose in the whole saga. It's sort of get information and relay it.
That was a good one. And even Skyrim. I know that whatever comes at you.
This scene took a good while to film, I remember.
When I watch this scene, there's one thing that really irks me.
What is it?
Is that one of the blinds on the window in the background is
Yeah.
just kind of like pulled off to the side and like diagonally stuck.
Let me
And
see.
it just,
Oh,
you
yeah.
just see it right there.
Yeah.
It's just every time I've seen this scene, it irks me every time.
My mission.
Yeah.
I got us into this mess.
You what?
So obviously, like, Bob's trying to protect Sdsman. And from the viewer perspective, you're just like, I see. But obviously, when the twist comes, it's much more darker than that, deeper than that.
Right.
But yeah, he's sort of just trying to protect him.
Wait, why can't you tell us Sdsman?
I don't want him to get hurt. I'm afraid for myself, and I don't want to be afraid for his sake too. You can't tell him.
So yeah, obviously, like I said, Superfan does one thing in this whole thing. Despite him, I mean, he does more than one thing, I guess, off screen.
Right.
He is the puppet master in this whole Evil Bob Saga.
Yes.
But and you can we could point to those. There's some more examples of those later. But yeah. Also, this next scene was filmed, I remember, in a whole different room again because of the kitchen.
Yep.
Playing some Puyo Puyo Tetris.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of a nice transition here. And obviously we got that pesky fucking rock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the rock that I did. This rock I did drop on my foot. And then we get the introduction of the gun, which is
Oh, my shirt's so wet because we were out in the rain.
We were out in the rain, yeah. So something that all right. I've said this before and I'll say this again. There will never be a gun in another one of our videos because this gun caused so many problems.
Yep.
We would try to upload these videos to Twitch, which we did manage to. The complete Evil Bob Saga wouldn't go to Twitch because Twitch didn't tell us this, but they said we violated these videos violated the Twitch services.
Right.
Or not, yeah. Which I looked through and I tried to figure out what it could possibly be, and it has to be the gun.
Yeah.
So, but this is filmed in a brand new room.
Mm-hmm.
Them.
And obviously we get this class. All right. So this scene is probably the first scene I came up with conceptually, which is of course the stealing of the rubber ducky shirt,
Yes.
which is a gigantic important scene and pivots the plot forward.
Time for the poem.
Yes, the poem, which
This
is
took us a few takes.
it's a long one.
Soon your last breath you will take. That's
So originally this scene was actually gonna be filmed in the kitchen, and you were gonna like run through me downstairs, but
Right.
we had to film it in this room, so we were limited. So the push isn't through me, but it is sort of out of the way, pushing me out of the way.
Yes.
Which we'll get to in a second. But yeah, reading the poem. I am actually reading the poem because I can never remember it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I came up with that.
Because it's time that we show you everything we got. By the end of this, you'll be saying,
What the fuck?
That's because we took your favorite.
That I think that line at the end was like what spawned the poem. I think that was like one of the lines you came up with first.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. The music comes in.
Mm-hmm. We cut out a staircase.
Yeah.
That room is upstairs.
Yes. We got the scene right here. You're looking. This is the most infamous scene in the whole. And this is the scene. This is my favorite scene. Falling on the stairs there. Which, by the way,
The middle shot of you falling
yes,
is just perfect.
Yes. By the way, people say like, "Oh, that doesn't look like it hurt." That shit fucking hurt. By the way, I got hurt. I dropped the rock. I got like carpet burn from
You
that.
can see my allergies going fucking
Yeah.
insane right
which
there.
I think is supposed to, which works out because it's
Yes.
like you're emotional. But yeah, we finally see the shirt gone, which obviously is canon. The shirt is still not there. Obviously, we replaced it, but cut from part 2 to part 3 instantly. That's where we left off part 2.
Yes.
That's one of the biggest cliffhangers.
why couldn't they take that one?
Yeah, that shirt fucking sucks, dude.
It does. It's still there though.
It's still, it's hanging in there, literally.
Did
Um,
awaken the beast.
But yeah, we knew from the very beginning that the Bubba Ducky shirt was gonna get stolen. Like I knew from the very beginning that hey, the one event that will happen is the shirt will get stolen and Evil Bob will die because we need to get rid of Evil Bob
Yes, right.
and as the character because we need to focus back to making our old videos and that hey we need to pass some stakes here and obviously like. It's not like Bob's dead because then you're no longer
Right.
like what the fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
So instead we're like oh the shirt will quote unquote die.
Yes.
But obviously it's more sinister to that as we'll go on.
He's coming.
But that cut there would originally be the title screen cut, so it does seem a little jarring. But
You'll fall.
just still establishing that they're there.
My hair's so much longer here.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, a couple months may have passed in time.
I look so bald in that fucking picture.
Yeah. We got this little scene here on the old couch. Which, by the way, that couch didn't survive the Evil Bob
No.
Saga. By the time we finished recording of that couch, that was this was oh god, this was probably this was the same day we recorded the rain stuff. You can tell.
Yeah.
I think I want to say it was October.
Yeah, because we recorded the first part of
Part 3
first
with
little part of part 3 with part 2.
Yeah, because they sort of carry over. But something that I appreciate about this scene is I appreciate sort of like this is like the first personal scene between both of them.
Yes.
So like talking about catching up where they've been because a lot's happened. These two talked in the first part and then they talk a little bit in the second part. But I made sure to have these two sort of be here, have a personal scene here to sort of I guess keep that anchored because this is the last personal scene they have until the end of the saga, the last scene, because they kind of both go their separate ways here and have their own stories. Part 3 is also like a transition. If part 1 is the establishing and part 2 is sort of like the carrying on the story, part 3 is like the transitioning. Like the first half of the story and the second half of the story are all very different.
Yes.
And part 3 is sort of the bridge between those two scenes. So obviously we get the scene here with the Undertale music.
Oh, I love this music so much.
Yeah.
I was so happy to change out of that outfit.
Yes.
I hated that shirt.
I think you requested it, and
Yep.
I said, all right. I said, if you're going to change, you're going to change here. I think I already had the scene here anyway, but... No, you're in like an actual...
Much more fitting to
Much more
the
fitting.
changing season.
Yes. Because we did start filming this in summer, and this
Yep.
is, at this point, late fall, and then
Yes.
it becomes winter.
Right.
So, yeah. So you grab the gun. Get this scene right here, which is one of the most vital scenes, obviously. We talked about Superfan does one thing, gives the information.
New kitchen.
This is the new kitchen. Finally you get to see it, yeah. This must have been filmed in November.
Yeah.
Actually, this might even be filmed December.
I don't think it was that. I think it was.
I don't know.
I
I think this is early December, dude. Got your voicemail, which I appreciate.
Yes.
Hey,
So obviously he's like, I gotta confess, I gotta tell the truth. And the audience were like, what is that? What is the truth?
Right.
Obviously, being that he knows what's going on and he's behind most of it. But yeah, the twist that comes in part 4, which we'll talk all about. I feel like part 4 will be the one we have the most stuff to say about. But this scene
Now
we got
here's some more of Superfan pulling his strings,
yes,
pulling people together.
yeah, he's just baiting him to go. From this perspective, when you're first watching, it's like, oh, he's an idiot, and he's just being a goof.
Right.
But you can also kind of like read it deeper and say that he's intentionally forcing Sdsman's hand, forcing him to go there.
that you tell me.
But in Minecraft episode 53,
You have to tell me.
So yeah, we got
You very much tell Kevin's trying to hide a smile there.
yes. I believe that we did have that was a lot of takes
Yes.
as well. So we got this scene. This is sort of the interlace scene with the commentary over it. That
My camera's so HD, it hurts.
so we got so we got you ready to go into the base, and then we have
sorry.
confrontation here.
Is he?
Which this is like the separation of the two parts.
Yes.
Because the rest of the saga pretty much takes place in one room.
Right.
I mean, with the flashbacks not. But
This is the bridge episode essentially.
this is welcome to part 3, the bridge.
Yep.
He said he's gonna face the hackers head on. He found their base.
Obviously beating Sdsman.
Mm-hmm.
What I like about this scene is that we have this scene here, and then we cut to now what's going on with you.
Yep.
And then, but we come back to this at the end. I
Right.
kind of like that. So we finally introduce like the layer, which again has a lot of stuff in it, but we get to that. Don't worry.
Mm-hmm. It's a podcast.
Yeah, it's the podcast. It's actually a canon stream. We put that in there. And you can see like he's watching them, which we'll get to later.
Yep.
But again, we're seeing this from Bob's perspective.
Not playing games anymore.
We have Evil Bob here.
The games end.
And remember, he doesn't know about Evil Sdsman yet, so this is
Right.
like the scene where it's revealed to him.
Yep.
Answers. I want to know who you are and why you're after us. You cannot handle the truth.
Got a Few Good Men reference in there.
Reference the film A Few Good Men.
Yes, but it applies.
Do you miss doing the Evil Bob voice?
A little bit, but not really. I didn't like doing lines in it.
Yeah.
I like just pulling it out randomly, but
Yeah.
doing lines in it was kind of
It became tough, yeah.
because I can do accents pretty well, but
Yeah.
then if you it's only certain words though, because
Yeah.
like I can't do like full speech in an accent very well.
Yeah. So obviously we have the instruction of Sdsman. Bob's
Yes.
very overwhelmed.
Yep.
kind of existential crisis. Like, wait, who's who? Am I here? What's the philosophical implications of this? Who cares? Kill him. Basically.
I'll do it.
Yeah, this is the end of part 3, obviously, with the gun, which, by the way, never no more guns.
This is when we introduced the tripod, also.
Yeah, you can tell. The tripod was a pretty big innovation.
Yes.
He needs my help.
So we get the end of part 3 here.
Wait, where are you going? How do you know where he is?
I know where he's going.
How?
Obviously, that would be revealed.
Yes.
This is one of my favorite lines.
This is just like episode.
Because the whole point, he's referencing episodes, and now he's like,
Nothing like this has ever
he's like, what the fuck?
happened
This is like Minecraft. What?
What?
Nothing. But obviously, he's pulling the strings.
Right.
So he knows what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Which.
Part 4.
So part 4. So this is the backstory. This is the part 5 is the conclusion. Part 4 is like a little bit like let's pause and let's explain everything you need to know. Every like answer. And what I will say about this episode is this episode actually, or this part of the I guess saga. This is like Evil Bob's episode. If you
Yes.
will. He's telling it from his perspective. He's telling the story, which. Yes, what I guess in this case, as the creators, we could say what he says happens as you see, but like
Right.
he also has some bias in there, and what he shows is he sort of like makes him this sympathizes him a little bit. It sort of shows that this whole time like you think like it's him, he's the big head, but he sort of reveals that he's working for someone, he's not in control of this, and at one point
He himself is a henchman.
yeah, he himself is a henchman, and he kind of shows how everyone wanted to replace Sdsman was made, as we'll show in a second, to replace Sdsman, but he wasn't made to replace him, and that kind of makes him upset. That kind of like he kind of starts questioning where he belongs in life. So this is actually a clip of an actual stream. This is actually a stream at the time that would make sense. So this takes place like early into the stream, obviously.
Right.
So obviously we see the nice DNA samples there. So obviously he works for someone. So there are answers we still don't know yet. How did Superfan get our DNA?
Right.
But yeah. Great. I like this black and white. This makes it like stylized. I like it
Yes.
a lot. So obviously, yeah. So we see this from. We don't even really see Evil Sdsman that much from his perspective, or normal Sdsman, as you'll see. But we learn about Evil Bob.
Yep. I think that was Sprite that we used.
Yes.
If you didn't know, Sprite makes you Russian.
Yes. So it actually shows that Evil Bob doesn't even know who he is. So this goes beyond Evil Bob.
Watched your streams for hours on end. That's all we did. I had a few plans, but the cloned version of Sdsman had a million ideas. He was more obsessed than me.
So it kind of shows how like they were both made, and Evil Bob just kind of like is outshined here. He's not really into it as much. And he's just following protocol. He's like a yes man. Like yes, we will follow protocol, but this dude's like I'm gonna do what I need to do. I'm gonna go out of my way to get what I want.
They always wanted
And you get this line right here.
They always loved you. They never
And he's kind of like jealous. Like,
Yep.
and like I'm not. He's here to be the star, which we don't know why he's replacing him yet. Well, I guess you'll learn that eventually.
We must
Yes.
follow his orders. We are not ready yet.
All you'll ever be is a follower. Let me show you how a leader.
But obviously, yeah, this scene kind of shows that
Replace Sdsman now.
that Evil Bob is sort of like he feels bad. He's sort of like in the shadow here, and he doesn't really have a place of belonging. Like he can't. He's like stuck in the middle. Like he's like he doesn't really have like an identity. Like
Right.
he has no goal, and he's just kind of like, why the fuck am I here? And just obviously Sdsman doesn't give a shit what his boss wants. He just wants to take over
Yep.
as quick as he can, and it does result in a little bit of messiness. Kind of kicks off the saga.
Yep.
We went right after the
Obviously, the big twist coming right here.
Yes. This is a really fun section of the video to shoot.
Yes.
Tell me about this.
I think you like that because I think your favorite part of that is you were sitting down with the rope. Like you're like, thank God I
Well,
get to relax.
Yeah, basically.
Which I don't blame you because we were standing up running around most of the time.
Yeah.
So it was actually like enjoyable.
This part was good too. I really
Yes.
liked some of my camera work here.
Yeah. So obviously the big twist. We see him wearing the sweatshirt, which he still wears. That was like an indication right here. You don't know it yet until like right here.
Right.
Sorry it had to end this way.
So this is before 100. Establish that.
That was a little scream that you did there that we cut out.
Yeah, because it was too goof for the serious moment. Him covering his eye is like supposed to be the first indication that, oh wait, he got hit in the eye. And then we don't show it, but that he hit him in the throat there. Which is why his voice is all fucked up. We never like showed that because we don't have the budget.
Yes.
But that's the reason why. So obviously he gets rid of him, he moves, runs away, and then we have
he goes to get a thing to deal with
Evil Bob foot. I think it's a shovel, yeah, it comes back to bury his dead corpse, which is a little dark, you know. But
it's gone.
But he's gone. But at this point you're supposed to know, but you're still kinda like, wait, who's who exactly?
Right.
And then this is when you find out right here.
Mm-hmm.
I am not Bob. Well, I am. Yes.
And then you find out this whole time that it's no longer about the mission, it's about the revenge.
I will help you. Wait. What? Sdsman isn't dead?
You fool. He isn't dead. He's on my side.
Yeah, so this is like this is the big twist where it's like, what?
Yes.
And we were foreshadowing this. We knew this actually before when we came up with the idea of the Evil Bob Saga, we're like, all right, what's the big twist?
Right.
And it feels like in every like clone story, the twist is that they're not who you think you are.
Right.
So it's definitely cliche on purpose. This isn't an accidental cliche. This is definitely like a purposeful, like sort of like funny cliche that always happens, but you still never really see it coming in this because it doesn't make any goddamn sense, but we make it make sense.
Right.
And it sort of does work, actually. And then like
that line I just said was incredibly difficult. It took us about 10 takes,
Yes.
maybe. It was fucking terrible.
So the implications of this is like, oh shit, who's actually bad and who's not bad, which is like a big moral question, which we do address. We have like a meta moment at the end where we address it, but for now it's like, who gives a shit about that? Let's watch these two fight, basically. Yeah, finally all together in the same room. And Bob has to sort of make a choice here,
You dare return me?
obviously.
You're ready to expose you.
So then you kind of be like, oh shit, like, you know, Evil Bob, like, pretty much just took the original Sdsman, now they're working together to take him down.
No.
Meanwhile, Superfan's behind all of this, but, like, he's not behind this, I guess.
Right.
And you don't know it yet, so.
Now.
Yeah, Sdsman's original thing was to try to have the clones take over so he could essentially be in control. But any of this clone swap stuff wasn't really...
Right, Superfan's
Yeah.
doing. This is all just implications because the original Sdsman fucked up.
Yes.
Everything to do with this.
Not the original, I guess, the cloned.
Right.
Who is now my Sdsman. It's weird. Names are weird. Yeah. But this is the end of part 4.
Yep.
The backstory, sort of establishing where we are.
Mm-hmm.
And now we get to the last part where it's like we got all of them in the same room. How is this going to conclude? And there are a few twists in part 5, but part 5 definitely is like the conclusion part. Is definitely the part where it's like, let's end this now.
Absolutely.
And part 5 was actually, so part 4 I think was filmed pretty, like I think it was like 2 or 3 sessions. Part 5 was 2 sessions, but like 80% of it was one.
Right. Yeah, the one session,
Like-
and that was a long session
Like
too.
from here until the death of Evil Bob,
Right.
which we'll get to, is one session. So we have this scene right here, establishing
I knew you had.
establishing sort of their relationship here.
Mm-hmm.
Not letting you hurt.
You actually have my Twitch right there.
Yep.
Too late.
And some people may be like, why couldn't the old Sdsman log into his password when he came here? And I just were like, well, I guess he just changed his password.
Just change the password.
And
Yeah.
his email, I don't know. Don't think about it too much.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, I don't think I actually entered my password here.
No.
Yes. Excellent.
Plus, I have two factor.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
you get in there, kiddo.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Just like that.
Hurry up. Let's end this.
yep, so obviously, this would be the title screen pops up.
Let you know I'm doing this because
The cut again may seem weird, but the title screen makes
Right.
it less weird.
you know I have no choice.
So I have a little bit of confrontation here.
Mm-hmm.
Just wanted to be you. Spare your talk. You can have
This was...
it.
We had to figure out a little bit of logistics filming this part because we had to figure out the most optimal way to do like outfit changes
Yes.
to do each part.
Yes. Oh no, the outfit changes here were crazy.
Yeah. I think we both changed. I think I changed twice and you changed 3 times. It was
Yeah.
pretty crazy.
Yeah. So this is like the first fight. This one's kind of improvised.
Yes,
We'll get to the other one in a second.
Yep.
I'll let you talk about that.
Right.
On the backstory on that. But here we sort of have like a little bit of fight. Sdsman kind of traumatized over the gun, lays it down. That gun placement is obviously purposeful. You can still see it there.
Yep.
That is the only gun that is fired, since there are 2 guns.
We filmed a bit more improvised fight there, but it didn't end up working out really well.
No,
So
there actually is one other scene that's cut here.
Yep.
Which we'll talk about, which is a very important scene, but we had to cut it because we lost footage.
Right.
But we have a little conversation here. And this actually is the explanation of what all the shit's doing here.
Mm-hmm.
And sort of like trying to like moralize it.
Wasn't gonna kill him. Yeah, but hacking our channel and threatening us.
Sort of to establish that no one's in. Bob is the only good boy here. Everyone else is kind of bad.
Yeah.
Like literally every other character
Yes.
is kind of like in a morally gray or black.
Yep.
So yeah, this is like the setup.
All this stuff, all this mess. This is from my house, and that's Sdsman's house. My boss is.
So if that's not the first hint, if that's not a direct like,
Right.
Superfan is in charge of this. Like he's obsessed, obviously. So obviously Superfan being behind all this makes sense. He has all his stuff because he's always at his house. And we probably should have filmed the scene of him taking something like in the background. So you can watch it. That'd be cool. I'm thinking about that now.
Yep.
But got to change the title. This is the fight.
Yes.
You choreographed this.
I
fight.
did. I set it up beforehand, and we kind of practiced each part, and as we did it, and we figured out a bunch of different things. I kind of wanted to make it so that we could get from position to position because
Yeah.
we needed to get over to the other room,
And not improvise.
and
so much.
I figured I kind of went through moves in my head to try to figure out exactly.
By
how
the
it was
way,
gonna
that
go.
moment where you slam me in the wall and I went, actually
it
fucking
yeah.
hurt.
Yeah.
That hurts. That was like, I was bruised after that. Like I was abused during the Evil Bob Saga, but to only myself to blame. I wrote and directed this.
Yes.
I could have easily wrote situations in which I don't, but I said, I'll do it for the fucking video.
Yep.
So we finally get the 2 confronting each other again.
Yes.
Obviously, 3 years later, in this point, 2 years later, 2.5 years later.
We did it. The channel is ours. Are you okay?
So this is a scene cut out right here. Well, I'm talking to you right here. So originally there's a scene where I'm like let Bob go, let him run, and we're arguing with each other, and you're like, you do not. I do what I say. I will do what's gonna happen. We're done with this,
Right.
and we're gonna end their lives.
Yep.
And Sdsman's kind of like, we can't, and he's like, we're gonna do it, and that, which is cut out, but that establishes that like, evil Sdsman has sympathy, while evil Bob kind of lost all his sympathy.
Right,
which-
because we filmed all of your lines and we filmed all my lines in 2 separate recordings.
yeah.
And mine was lost.
Yes.
We had
But
no
obviously
idea what
that
it
gun is still there, which is important. You kind of don't really, when there's so much going on, you really don't pay attention to
Yep.
it. But we made very clear to keep that gun. You can actually watch right here. Watch, I reach for it right here. And then the next shot's gone.
Kill me.
Yes, see, it's gone.
was. Yep.
Maybe I should. But it's real pain I want you to feel.
So obviously, and I'm like right behind you.
Yep.
No!
We obviously got the gunshot, which fake out. I always like these kind of scenes. Like, no, who shot who?
Where did the bullet go?
And then yeah, of course, there's also no blood and no hold.
That
Don't
hurt
worry
my
about
knees a lot because that floor is cement. That fucking hurt my knees.
it. Don't worry about there's no blood. He's wearing a red shirt. That's why you can't see it.
And there's no exit wound, so it's
Yeah.
fine.
It's like it's in him.
Yes.
It's in you right now.
I'm bleeding internally. Don't worry.
Yeah.
We can be friends again.
Also, they freak out a little. They don't freak out as much as seeing his dead body, but I guess they're
Yeah.
like, hey, he's a clone. Also, maybe he doesn't have blood in him. He's a clone. I don't
Maybe,
know.
yeah.
We didn't.
We don't know the rules.
Whatever. This is actually important. So we take the laptop, and I don't want to like give away what's going to happen because this will eventually we'll have more. We'll do another saga. We'll talk about that at the end of this. But that laptop will come back. I will
Yes.
say that much.
That's the thread that stays open. That's one of the two threads that kind of stays open.
Yeah.
Channel is
So Bob feels like he succeeded, obviously in death, which is all he ever wanted. His channel is finally his, but he's dead, so it's
Yep.
not. And then we get to the final, like, sort of like, the final scene here. Well, the final real
Filming
scene.
this scene was nice because it was back to our normal kind of
style.
Shot reverse shot kind of style.
This is
with
also
everything.
like to sort of like wrap things up. It's kind of like talking about the moral implications of this, and like you sense like a rift between the two, and this is like kind of like bringing them back together,
Right.
if you will.
We should destroy it.
Some fantastic music from Persona 5 here.
Yep. This is like the first genuine conversation. This is actually one of the longest scenes too in the whole thing, in the whole saga. This took a long. I don't think this took a long time to film, but this took a long time to edit. I remember this took at least like 5 hours to edit. This was a long edit. A lot of outtakes too, I'm sure.
Really? After I took over the channel, I had to hide.
So kind of like explaining Sdsman's perspective, which you don't really get to see.
Right.
You only see from Bob's and from Evil Bob's.
Mm-hmm.
So he finally explains his perspective, and it's like, what's like the more implication of this? Sdsman kind of fucked up,
You did something terrible. And I guess
but
I've only known
the moral of the story is, whatever.
Yes.
Also, like it's just like the sort
moral of the story is fuck a moral.
the sort of implications that these two only have known each other for like a couple of years is like kind of crazy too.
Right.
But here they're just like, well, we'll just drop it and go
Yeah.
go back.
I'm not an expert at moral lessons.
like,
You know in movies,
Obviously, a meta narrative here saying, you know, at the end of movies when they have fucking moral lessons, yeah, fuck that shit. That
Yeah.
shit's dumb.
right.
Just sort of a meta narrative.
It's just like, what's the legal ramifications of killing clones?
yeah, right.
How about we just don't?
And now I'm friends with the clone. I don't know what's going
Right.
on. But obviously the shirt is still missing, and that's like an open thread, which was like, oh shit, like, and I think like we did a good job unintentionally, because not only do they forget about it, which you may be like, how could they forget about it? But the audience perspective definitely forgot about it, because since the shirt got stolen, he went there, the backstory happened, and like the fight happened. You kind of forget about the shirt.
Yep.
So it's like not like crazy that you'd forget about it, but the shirt is obviously important where that is, as you'll see in a second. It's also in the big reveal. So it's kind of like closing, like Evil Bob's dead, you know, I don't think Evil Sdsman's going to come after us, and all is good.
Yep.
Except is it? But
OG SDS,
yeah,
man.
this is a fun little scene right here. Because I kind of wanted to end it on us like bickering and being friends
Right.
again, just sort of like be like, see, the Evil Bob Saga's over, everything's normal, like they are in our normal videos. We just kind of like bicker with each other, and it's, I don't know. This is like the most genuine moment I feel like in the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then the music fits really well here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just
Yeah, I think you gave me 2 choices of music for this part, and I chose this one.
yeah, I
and
think it
I'm
was
glad
this
I
and
chose
the Donkey Kong 2 song, DKC 2 song.
But we can't just say you and him. That's the pronoun game. That's messed up. What do you mean messed up? You hit yourself in the face with a mallet. You worked with yourself.
This is mostly improvised, this little argument
Right.
There's no way.
I think there was like one line you gave me that I had to get to, and that
Yeah.
was basically it.
Yeah. We sort of just laugh it off and just, yeah, sort of fades out. And then originally we had the fake credits and then the scene and then the real credits, but with the complete Evil Bob Saga, it's re-edited differently. So
Yep.
I didn't want to play the whole credits. So instead, we get this little scene right here where it seems like it ends, but we actually see what's going on. And at this point, you're also supposed to forget about Superfan.
Right.
But, yeah, we have Evil
Because he hasn't been in since
So
episode
Evil
3.
Sdsman, it's confirmed he does know about Superfan because he's not a clone.
Yep.
So, but the clone version doesn't know. But he actually never sees his face, so he actually doesn't know. It's not implied that he actually knows exactly who he is.
Right.
you don't need me. And I can't do this.
But
Very well.
at this point, you're like, is that Superfan? Like, yeah, it sounds like him, and that would make sense. But yeah, that would make sense if it sounds like him and it is him, and ultimately.
Knowing the angles of how the basement is set up, that scene just hurt my brain.
Oh, yeah.
Based on where he's standing.
Yeah. Of course, we get the reveal.
I am their biggest fan.
So obviously the reveal that he is behind all of this, and he has the Bubba Ducky shirt, which is this is the first time we actually see it in the whole
Yes.
saga.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit, and this is like a this is supposed to leave you off like a, oh my god, evil still exists.
Right.
The story is not complete. So obviously, yeah, which we'll talk about in just a second.
Yep.
But yeah, that's the Evil Bob Saga. 5 whole parts. What is it, like 45 minutes? 43 whole minutes of
Yep.
footage. And I guess I don't know what
It's like a short film. basically.
any thoughts that you haven't? There's a lot. About
Yeah.
Evil Bob Saga. There's a lot to talk about. Honestly, I could go scene by scene and dissect every line I wrote, but I think I'll let the viewers do that. We just kind of
Right.
wanted to do some fun commentary over it. Is
Yep.
there anything specifically that you want to talk about the Evil Bob Saga?
It was definitely a kind of harrowing experience.
This was
filming the whole
this
thing.
was an experience.
Yeah.
This definitely was a major part of our lives.
Yep.
I remember during this we didn't do any like big streams, maybe besides the Smash stream.
Yep.
We didn't really do too much outside of this like work wise because this was our main work. If we weren't filming this and if we weren't writing or editing, we were planning things out. We were talking about it, getting days planned out.
A little fun fact about the credits: Joe didn't actually do any camera.
Yes,
work.
Joe did not do any
We had
camera work.
intended him to, but schedules didn't work out.
Yes.
And then I requested this credit to be added
Yes,
after the
it
fight
was kinda-
scene in
yes.
episode 5.
Which does ring true.
Yep.
But obviously, yeah, Super Finn being the main villain, he's appeared in I think the Babadoki the new shirt video is the only video he's appeared in
Yes.
since then, which makes sense. He's connected to the shirts, but there will be another saga
Yep.
that will kind of continue the story. But what works is we got rid of Evil Bob,
Yes.
and we can kind of like what we can do here is we can kind of like sort of have like a nice break between that thread and this thread.
Right.
We ended a lot of like the main threads, and other like where the shirt is and evil and why Superfan is doing what he's doing and why he's doing it. We'll get to that.
Yes.
But for now, I think even now, this came out in January and February, so what would it be?
Yep.
6 to 7 months later. I think at this point we're still pretty happy to not be filming this.
Yeah.
Not that we don't like filming it, but
Right.
I think next time we film it, we'll definitely try to schedule it better.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot.
This was a lot of
effort.
work.
It was
This was
ridiculous.
how much footage do you think we filmed? We filmed at least like what did you say 6 hours? 6
Probably,
hours?
yeah.
Of footage at least. We filmed a lot of footage for
Yeah.
this. This took. I mean, there's a reason why we started this in August and we finished it in January.
Right.
A lot of it was scheduling, but even so, like in December and January, we just worked our asses off filming
Yes.
this, and then as soon as we were done filming, I was editing. This was it was very stressful. I loved it though, and I am looking forward to doing the next one. But we deserve a break between this and whenever the next one is, which will probably be still a while away. And whenever we do the next one, we'll probably film a like a recap video.
Yes.
That's how long it will probably be. But I'm glad we're back to doing normal videos. We'll definitely include Superfan in more normal videos here
Yep.
and there. We just gotta kind of find the right circumstance. But yeah, this took a long time to do, and this did act as hey, let's end the Evil Bob thing, but instead of editing it in promos, let's make a video where we end it.
Yep.
And this turned out to be a much bigger project than we
Oh yes.
than we expected.
Yep.
So yeah, that's the Evil Bob Saga. There's a lot to talk about it. There's a lot to say simultaneously. Well, there is a lot to say. We don't have the time to go into everything. But
Yes.
I hope you enjoyed our commentary track over this. That is indeed the Evil Bob Saga. All 5 parts.
And one nice little neat
And
bow.
nice little bow, and we get the end here. We've been meaning to do this commentary track for a while now,
Yep.
but just like the Evil Bob Saga, we had to delay it because of external reasons. But scheduling is always the hardest part.
Yes.
So next time we do one of these, we'll definitely schedule it better and hopefully not have to delay it because we had to delay this twice. but
Yes.
hopefully we won't have to delay it anymore.
Yep.
But thank you guys so much for listening. Hope to see you around. Evil Bob Saga content. That's actually it. That's the last content.
That's it.
So I hope to see you guys around for the future.
Bye bye.
Until then, see you later.